What's going on, guys? Oscar here, SOS Customs, and today we're going to be installing this wide body kit on this M4. I'm going to take you through the full installation and the bodywork, so let's get into today's video. So this kit was specifically made for the M4 Coupe. The only problem is we have a convertible. Let's see how we're gonna make this work. Here we are, another day, another wide body kit. And this one, probably pretty crazy for a brand new car, but it consists of a front bumper, fenders, side skirts, quarter panels, and a rear bumper. Also optioned out that you get a hood, canards, extensions to the bunch of stuff, but the client didn't like how crazy the hood looked, which I thought the hood looked pretty good, but he didn't want to go with that, so this is what we're going to be installing. So for now, we just kind of mocked up the kit because it's a lot of parts, and we wanted to mock it up and show you guys what it's going to look like when it's on that car. But for now, what we're going to start doing is start tearing apart the brand new M4 and start with the front end and go back from there. We're going to mock up the bumper, fenders, side skirts, and then make our way to the quarter panels. Quarter panels are probably going to need to get panel bonded on, and then we're going to see about cutting the quarter panels, because obviously when you get a wide body kit, you only have the trajectory wheel arch of a stock body. You're not going to be able to fit some wide meats in the back, and you know what the wide body is for. The wide body is for the meats. So let's get into this build. All right, the M4 is in the bay. Time to start taking this thing apart. Let's go. This thing's a brand new car. Already got top mount turbo, already getting full wide body kit. This thing's gonna be pretty crazy. So the front end is on, no problem, everything bolted right up. The problem was in the rear quarter panels. It's completely different shape, completely different fuel cap placement. So this is where the true craftsman in SOS Customs had to shine.
All right, guys, so I wanted to give you guys an update on the M4 competition convertible. We started at the front of the car. I even been tearing this thing apart, fitting the bumper, fenders, side skirts, but now we're starting to deal with the stuff that we know just from looking at is not going to work. So we're going to mock up the rear bumper right now, see how that fits, and then kind of assess the rest of the work that we're already looking at, visually looking at this thing and saying got some problems, right, Ivan? What? Yeah.
Most of the stuff in the front did look to fit well, but the rear and the quarters are starting to look a little
sus.
A little sus.
Little cutting, a little...
Yeah, a little extra custom, let's say that.
Custom? SOS Custom? Alright, well, let's fit this thing on and see what we got. Alright guys, so now that we have the bumper mocked up, we were able to retain some of the existing brackets that clip into the front bumper by the tail lamp. We did have to drill out where it would screw to the back of the trunk area, but as you can see already, this thing's like, that's pretty wide. I mean, that's a lot of material there. The one thing that Ivan was pointing out is that this inner vent that goes in here that you see, it's already touching like the inner structure of the car itself onto that. But the bracket that we have here, there's no way this is gonna go here, because as you can see, that's where it's supposed to go, but this indentation of the vents is already touching that. So we might have to we will have to cut this thing out. What were you thinking, that we would have to probably retain some of that upper?
Probably just this upper section.
Just to help.
There's a bumper where it really clips on. Here's where it bolts onto the structure. This is just more for your radars, your blind spot sensors. Might something we have to sacrifice, or we might have to make a custom bracket for it. But other than that, hopefully we can make it work with the OEM parts. Even though we might have to cut them, that's better.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut this thing off, and like you said, either the relocation of the radar sensors, and obviously take into account too, I mean, now that you see the front bumper on, right? We saw a big difference on the front radar too. That obviously this car is equipped with, you know, sensor, but you see this big opening here? That big opening is not here on that front bumper. As you can see here, this looks like a fully meshed grille here, but on the original, because obviously they come with different packages, that this has the radar sensor that fits here. So either A, we're gonna have to devise and make a bracket that's gonna fit the radar sensor behind there, and hopefully this can be calibrated without the obstruction of this, or maybe this is gonna have to get cut out, or somebody's gonna have to dive into the computer and maybe disable some of these sensors, but that'd be up to the customer once we kind of show them what we got. But overall, we haven't even put the lights on, so that's gonna be another thing that we're gonna have to do, because we're gonna have to see how good the gaps are to the lights, and more than likely, being that it's fiberglass, it's gonna need some work. Everything that goes inside here, we're gonna have to devise brackets. So that's a lot of things that maybe a lot of the customers don't understand sometimes, in a sense where, hey, it's a, you know, body kit, wide body kit, throw it on there, either wrap the car or whatever. But there's other things that us as experienced customizers, right? We know what goes into it. So we have to make brackets, fix all the bodywork, fiberglass, and that's the trouble that we get into. And I'm already looking at the piece that's probably gonna give us the most trouble, which is these quarters right here. So we might mock these up so you guys can see the real problem is gonna be one step at a time. How about that? All right, so now that you see this quarter panel piece, it needs to move back a little bit more, which is not really the problem, because once this moves back, you know, it'll line up somewhat to that. But the major issue is we ain't got no fuel door right there, because on the original coupes, you know, this is a quarter panel that goes all the way up to here, but being this is a convertible, it's totally different, and they don't make this kit for the convertible. But guess what? The customer said SOS Customs can do it, and here it is. So now this thing has to be modified to fit the fuel door, or move this whole thing in a whole different direction. You see what I mean? The whole thing too on the back pocket that we're here is that this is not lining up right now, because this needs to go in here, but this is not allowing it because this is not the shape of the quarter panel. Pretty much we're gonna have to cut all of this and just leave a sliver so that it can go into the pocket, and then from there fit the tail light, do everything, make whatever we need to make. And obviously none of this is going to be intact. We're almost, you see that body line, that's the hard top where the convertible itself is going to slide into and tuck. So this body kit almost has to be trimmed down here, and then just a whole lot of stuff needs to happen there, and all the brackets. And now the same with this side, the hardest part. And that's why maybe we left it to that part as we were going, and we're like, oh, it's feeling good, it's coming along, and then we got the problem. So that's something we're gonna have to come up with Ivan and the crew and see what we have to do to get this thing to fit. But it's nothing we never dealt with before, so all we can say is let's go. All right guys, so we have an update on the M4 and the body kit that we're installing. We knew we're gonna have some issues with the quarter panels, but we got it figured out, we think, right? So Ivan has already kind of mocked up a line where our first cut is gonna be, meaning that's where the quarter panel lands, because obviously this being a hardtop or a convertible, the body lines are in a different spot. So we have our first cut. We're gonna go ahead and start cutting this out and then present it onto the car and see how much more work we're gonna have to do to cut to get it close, so that obviously we can do some body work on that. So start the cutting. What's up guys, we're back on the M4 and we got a little bit of an update. So G, Ivan, all the guys have been working on the bumpers, making sure the bodywork is perfect. We even did a little bit of a cut here to emulate the crash sensor or sensors that go on here. Kind of look more OEM and still retain that factory sensor that are on there. But now the fun stuff starts now. So you give Ivan a power tool and you gotta be careful. So we're gonna start cutting the quarters. From there we can bend everything to get it welded so we can get everything fitted, because we're gonna put some big wheels on this thing. So without further ado, Ivan, big boy, you like the big wheels, the big tortas?
Big.
The big ones, the granotas? Alright, let's do it. Alright, so this side is pretty much cut and prepared, ready for us to do the welding. We already kind of serrated the sheet metal here that's going to get folded up into here, and we'll weld everything together, seam seal it so it's fully sealed and structurally sound. We also took gas star that used to be obviously over here in the panel and went ahead and filled the hole on the quarter panel. So this piece used to be somewhere there. Renee went ahead and filled this thing up with fiberglass to make it, you know, flat, because obviously the orientation and the location of the new door is going to be somewhere in this area. But obviously we're dealing with body lines and some other stuff, so we're going to see what we have to do to get it to fit right, and then we can proceed to cut the hole on the new quarter piece on the rear bumper, making sure this thing's nice and straight. You know, a little body work that making to a boss, a G-man on this thing. I think getting ready to cut the other side, doing his mathematics, his calculations. Did you pass math, bro? What was your grade?
I had a 3.14 GPA.
Damn.
I should have had a 4.0, but my junior year, puberty kicked in.
Oh, I can see how that can affect it.
Yeah.
So we'll mark this thing up, cut this side, and then from there, we should be ready to weld. Continue on the hardest parts of this car, which is the quarter panels. So let's go.
Okay, so because this hardtop, not a convertible, we had to replace the gas cap area and cover it and transfer it over here where the convertible one goes, as well as trim it alongside the body line of the convertible. So there's a lot of things that need to happen to make this kit work with what is on the car. But it being a convertible, this is going to be pretty much the only convertible M4 with this kit on there. As you guys can see, we've trimmed it all along the convertible top line. We're going to be molding it onto it, panel body molding it. But before anything, we have to actually transfer the gas cap area. So we've cut that. Now we're going to make it work over here with
this gas cap area. Something like that. Alright, we're making parts of the kit work, transferring over, cutting, trimming, whatever needs to get done to make this happen. Okay, so now it's time to prep the actual side of the quarter panel where we're going to be bonding the quarters onto. Other side, we've already prepped them as well. We have transferred the gas cap from here to here and made it so it's going to be able to open and close. You guys can see that. So that's good to go. So we've already made some provisions using some self-tappers, and we're gonna pretty much blend it into the quarter panel. So it's gonna have the wide bodiness. We've already cut the quarter panel to give it room so it does have the space it needs. Now it's time to go ahead and take this off. We're gonna grind the back section and then we're gonna panel bond it on there. Then we'll do that body work to give it a seamless look. And then we're almost ready for primer and get the rest of the kit done. In the meantime, we have these fenders getting ready for paints, the rear bumper getting ready for paints, and the front bumper getting ready for paint. Now, we're really not supposed to paint this kit, but the diffuser needs to go gloss black, the top of the vents need to go gloss black, the emblem of the fender needs to go gloss black, and then the front grills and front lip needs to go gloss black. So we're just gonna paint it all gloss black. It's gonna make our life easier so we don't have to mask and so on and so forth. And when they go to wrap this car, it's gonna be a lot easier to wrap. So while these guys are getting this ready, we're gonna get the rest of the car ready for paint. Okay, this piece, quarter panels are now bonded on. We went ahead and let it dry the 9 hours required overnight, and now it is time to go ahead and get all these self-tappers off. We're gonna go ahead and grind down that whole edge and pretty much this whole piece. From there, we're gonna go ahead and add a reinforced filler, which has fiberglass strands on it. It's gonna make a very strong bond on top of that and give us a nice smoother edge. From there, we'll grind that off and then add some Bondo filler to go ahead and smooth out the edges. Block this whole piece because this is fiberglass, and then we should be able to go ahead and get these in primer. I'm estimating about 2 days of body work between this side and the other side. We are good to go. Let's go ahead and get it started.
Another day, another dollar. Ivan is putting on a Marglass to bond this body kit on this BMW. So hopefully one pass will do it. So like I said, hopefully one pass the Marglass will do it. And then you got Bondo, then you got some glaze to really get the final finish. But looking good. What do you think about his spread? It's spreading, actually, yeah, it's spread.
Spread Igor, spread.
Hey, what's your name?
Ivan.
No.
Trash Panda.
Close to getting the quarter panels for the M4 in full primer, but we went ahead and retest fit everything. We had a little bit of body work around the side skirt, but now it fits flawlessly. Got a nice gap all the way around, ready for a little bit of primer there. We had to body work the gas cap door because this kit we had to really remake all the lines because this kit was initially for a coupe, not a convertible. So the lines are slightly different. So we had to make our own body lines. But even trying to make the body lines different, the gas cap line was just completely out of whack. So we had to make lines for the gas cap as well. And even though we had test fitted the bumper, there was a slight gap more than what we were expecting on the tail light pocket. And so we're adding a little bit of material here so we can have a nice finish on that, because everything else is fitting really good. But that tail light, once it was on there, it was just, there's too much gap. So we're doing a little bit of body work underneath the tail light, so that way we have a nice finish there. We're finishing up the fitment on the side skirt, and then we should be ready for primer. Okay, so this project was not really supposed to get any paint, but wrapping this and getting a nice finish is not gonna be the best. You're gonna have a bunch of little things. I know a lot about wrap now because we have our spec, and especially these little mold and stuff like that. So instead of taking the time to mask up and then having to dead out the line, stuff like that, we had to prep all this stuff anyway for wrap. So I figured if we're gonna paint this stuff and we're gonna paint here, let's just make whoever's gonna wrap this car. Unfortunately, we're not gonna be wrapping it, but he has a buddy that's gonna wrap it for him. So I said, why not make their life a lot easier and have paint on it? So that's one. Here we have the other fender, also comes out great. Probably gonna be like, why don't you guys just paint the same color? I was like, sir, it's not gonna, that's a whole lot of work to mask this thing and then do it in a matte and a clear and so on and so forth. But it looks good. He's gonna be able to retain all this in gloss black, all the lip in gloss black, so it's gonna be really nice. This was a lot of work to get this thing this clean, but now it's time to go ahead and start marking everything up. We're finishing up getting the back quarter panels into primer. Those were a lot of work, but it's coming out really nice.
Bodywork's all done now. It's time to get this thing assembled, prepped, and detailed, and show it to our client.
Alright guys, so as you can see, the car behind me, the M4 competition is finished after a long hours, a lot of body work, but the kit is finished and we have everything complete. As you know, this car started as an original M4 competition convertible. The kit that was provided by DTM Fiberworks was made for a coupe, but this is convertible. So we had the tall task of dealing with making the quarter panels fit. And that was mostly the amount of bodywork that we had to put on this. It was quite a challenge and a problem that we had to deal with. We didn't know where everything was gonna land and where, you know, the gas door was gonna go, all this stuff, but the guys here took care of it and we got everything fitted. As you can see, it's painted in some spots and some are not, and that's for a reason. So the front bumper, the fenders were all painted in gloss black. So to alleviate when you do the wrap on the car, it's gonna have a better stick or adhesive to stick on. Also, the grille and certain parts of the body kit were gonna be in gloss black. So it made it a lot simpler for us to just paint the kit to make it look nice versus doing wrap on certain panels, and also to making it obviously look better, and not just painting the certain areas. We went ahead and painted the whole bumper to have a better texture when you wrap, because if we would have painted just certain areas, the wrap and stuff like that wouldn't have looked good. Being that we do wraps at our spec, we know the problems that we're faced with. So that's why we painted the bumper, the fenders, and the rear bumper. As you can see, the side skirt and the quarter panel were not painted, but they're properly prepped for the wrap to stick to it and to get it, you know, glued good to the panel. Man, this is the kit. It looks a lot better than when we started now that it's finished. So I want you guys to kind of drop a comment, tell me what you guys think, or what wrap color should she go with, because he's still kind of in the fence of what color should he go with. And being that it's, I think, such an aggressive kit, maybe a wild color would look nice, but also maybe not. So drop a comment, tell me what you guys think, and I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for new up-to-date videos, and here at SOS Customs, got you covered. Peace.